Hello everyone, it's Brittany here and I am back with another very questionable project. This project popped into my head as soon as I saw this lovely helmet at my local warehouse. So this is basically a kid's cycling helmet which has just got a couple of rubber pieces on top to make it look like a unicorn. So what I am planning to do is I'm going to use these pieces of the unicorn and adapt this into something of my childhood. This game in particular featured a certain robot unicorn in a game known as Robot Unicorn Attack. Truth be told, Robot Unicorn Attack was just a very simple mobile game, but as a kid I would sink hours into it, trying to improve my score, rainbows and beautiful music. It was everything I ever dreamed of as a kid. And since I am learning how to roller skate, I might as well make a funky looking helmet. So part of this plan as well is to insert LEDs into the eyes or mold some kind of eye socket to put the LEDs in, so it helps light up and kind of emphasize that robotic effect. And I'll just say now as a disclaimer that the helmet I make is in no way safe for wearing in any situation that safety is needed, because at the end of the day, it is just a pretty hat. If you're going to do any intense skating or anything that requires safety gear, just please use the appropriate gear. This is just for show. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the project. Now, because of course this helmet is made for 5 to 8 year olds, it's too small for my head. I brought this other helmet which fits much better and also has a shell that can separate from the lining, which means that I can take it apart and fit the electronics between the layers. I need to mold the eyes or eye sockets where the LEDs will go, and because this helmet is curved, I need to form the shape on the same curved surface. So every day for a week in advance, I covered the helmet with a layer of paper mache. This is because the vacuum former the eyes we molded on is too small to fit the entire helmet under, so you kind of gotta cut it into smaller, more workable pieces. I know this sounds like a lot just for getting it prepared, but you gotta make do with what you got. Once it was sturdy enough at 7 to 8 layers, I started to draw out where the eyes were going to go on the helmet, checking they were symmetrical. Then using some regular air dry clay from the craft store, I molded some eyeballs. The eye itself needs to sit away from the helmet as the electronics will sit underneath. And because the air dry clay tends to shrink while drying, it causes cracking like you can see, so I just filled it in with some more clay and let it dry again. So now we have our beautiful eyes made. They need to be removed from the helmet, so just cutting them out to a usable size. Sorry, I don't have footage of the vacuum former in action, but this was the machine I used. Big shout out to Turanga Library for help with this part. I got them formed in clear plastic so the lights can shine through, then just simply cut the new eyes out and put them aside for a moment while we just get everything else together. I also need to remove the rubber pieces of the unicorn from the original helmet. They were glued on pretty tight, so I ended up just getting a craft knife and slowly gliding it against the helmet to release them. Like, why do kids always have the cool stuff with these helmets and accessories? Like, does being an adult automatically mean things have to be basic and boring? I really hope not. With all the pieces ready to glue on, we need to prep the helmet, so to help make it a bit grippier, I sanded it down by hand. Brittany the mannequin returns to be my lovely helmet model. She is particularly useful here because I can arrange where all the pieces will go and check they're going to sit correctly when it's worn. After that, I just drew around the pieces to mark where they're going, then using a very strong glue I slathered it on and stuck them down. The stuff was pretty nasty, but it's very strong and at least they are not moving anytime soon. On to priming the helmet, I used the Adafruit NeoPixels paint that was used previously on my roller skates. It seems to work well on unconventional materials, and painting a white base on first just helps ensure that the real colour has a decent chance of being as bright as possible. Now we're at the point for planning where the electronics will go for the eyes. So I need to drill holes in where the wires will be fed through. For some reason I only drilled one hole here. I don't know why, because I actually need to, and you will see me fix this later on. But anyway, I wanted the eye colour itself to be blue with sparkles to catch the light, so here I'm just painting the base colour. Before doing anything else, I also poked a screwdriver through the drill hole to mark the foam lining, which will be very important to note later when building room for the electronics. When it comes to how the RGB LED circuit works, I have more info on the circuit process and everything on my website, which is in the description down below. In short, I'm using these Adafruit NeoPixels, which are not only super bright, but are RGB LEDs, so they can shift between the spectrum and can create all these beautiful colours. They're connected to an Adafruit Metro Mini controller, which has been programmed with a sequence called Pride 2015. I really wanted to have this video done before Pride Month was over, but hey, Pride should be celebrated at any time of the year, right? Now that the circuit plant is all arranged, it's time to just add it to the helmet. The LEDs need to be separately soldered to the wires and then fed through the drill holes. Sending a thank you to my brother for helping behind the scenes in this part and for putting up with my very subpar soldering skills. So once all this is done, the LED is poking out from top with the wires underneath. Then the wires need to be connected from one LED to another to complete the circuit. You can see the blue bits of rubber where it was soldered. Then just making absolute sure that the LEDs are not going to move with some hot glue. To make the eyes look like eyes, they were painted first in white for a base colour, then in black. My theory was that the black would better prevent the light from shining through. I don't know if there's any science involved with that, but hey, I tried my best. Then one thing I noticed was that the LEDs were almost too bright for the eyes. To better diffuse the light, I scratched up the plastic very slightly to create a hazier appearance. So here you can see the comparison of how much a difference it makes when the LED is on. Then here's just attaching the eyes with some hot glue. To help them better blend in with the helmet, I built up a few layers of just typical craft store modelling paste. Afterwards, just sanded it back to have a smoother finish. After priming the entire helmet with a few more layers of white paint, we are finally at the best part, which is painting and decorating. This robot needs its signature rainbow mane, so I'm using the metallic Lumiere colours from Jacquard as they apply very smoothly. So please enjoy this rainbow coming to life. So here's just planning out the robotic mechanism appearance. I drew it on with a pencil and filled it in with NeoPixels black. I am particularly proud of the eyeliner to say, and once all that was done, I painted the rest with silver paint. So you can see some of the uneven surfaces around the eyes that I just couldn't sand away, but my rule of thumb is that if you can't remove it, there are different ways that you can avert the eye, shall we say. Hi, it's me again. I just wanted to have a quick little discussion about glitter. Glitter is something I find quite interesting because it is absolutely beautiful. It has such a beautiful visual impact to projects and it has many applications. However, if not used well or used ineffectively, it flakes off and it becomes a microplastic which can get into the ocean and it will just not go away. I'm always wanting to figure out a balance between my project and then everything else, the materials, excess materials, and rubbish that can come from making a project. So the process I have with applying glitter, as you can see in this video, I mix it directly with Mod Podge to create a thick paste and then apply that directly to the project with a brush. which means that the glue encapsulates the glitter and applies directly. For me, this actually works really well because you can layer it up and it has quite a strong impact, which is just as effective as when you put glue on and then just sprinkle it on top, and it doesn't flake off. Afterwards, I don't rinse the brushes. I actually wipe as much of the glue and glitter off, and then with a damp cloth, which is especially for painting, I wipe it all off and then I keep my brushes separate. This sounds quite laborious, but I'm kind of just wanting to keep that in mind as I'm making projects, that there is, you know, an impact beyond making it. I think I'm just rambling now, but my point is, if you guys have any other ideas on ways I can achieve, you know, a beautiful outcome as well as reducing an impact, you know, on the environment and elsewhere, I would love to hear it. Please let me know and I would love to have a talk about it. Anyway, moving on. When it comes to how much glitter to apply, I apply as many as the project requires. If you want it absolutely caked in glitter, then it's usually about 3 to 4 layers built up over time. The glitter is bonded directly to the material when mixed, so it won't move around after it's dry. So now I just need to fit it all together. We need to make room for the electronics on the inside or they're gonna get squished. The fastest and probably the least messy way to do it was to just melt the polystyrene inner with a soldering iron. Do not melt this stuff indoors, it is pretty toxic to breathe in, so we went outside to do this. This didn't take long to do either, it was just melting the areas for the eyes, the wires, and then the back area where the board is going to be slotted into. So obviously this part destroys any chance of this helmet being safe to wear for high impact activities, so please just remember this is meant for a fun fashion accessory. When it comes to actually powering the helmet, I have a portable phone charger in the shape of a unicorn. It's got a little USB at the bottom, so I've got a cable, plugs in, it lights up, it's amazing, I love it. And then at the back here, what I added afterwards is a little tube, because the end of this is actually magnetized and I've got the end of the cable sitting in there, so it just guides it up there, and once it's all connected it will turn on. And I love the fact that this cable is magnetized at the end, because if for whatever reason it gets pulled on, it can just come out like that and it doesn't affect the electronics and it will just turn off instantly. Now obviously I can't wear this helmet for any dangerous high impact situations, but I wouldn't mind trying it out for just some casual roller skating. Nothing crazy of course, but I think it would look really cool. Overall this was just a really fun, weird tangent of a project to work on. Whew. So with all of that being said and done, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll have a wonderful day and I will see you later. Bye!